Hello, everybody. I would like to speak today about what is going on between United States and Canada. One, it is why it is important, and to this end, I would like to provide you with an article from Canadian woman. She is writing in on Substack. Her blog is called "A Letter from a Maritimer," and she's providing the quite useful timeline to explain what is going on, why Canadians feel how they feel right now, and how it all came to this point. So, because there is, she feels that there is a misunderstanding between Americans and Canadians, and many Americans just don't understand what's going on. And to me, it is quite it feels very similar that what we had with Russians, because we were two countries, neighbors, and we heard a lot of lies from the other side, and there is very similar vibe right now between United States and Canada that we had from Russia towards us, and this is dreadful feeling that the other part already decided what they are going to do, and they already, no matter what you are going to say, it will not sway them, because they persuaded themselves that they are in the right, and they have the right to make this awful choice and to invade and annex your country. Or in our case, they were trying to do that, but we just prevented them from doing it completely. But the war is still going on. Okay, so let's go to this post from this Canadian about why Canadians feel the way they do. One thing I've learned over the past few weeks, and it's been a bit of sobering lesson, is that a lot of Americans I know don't actually know what's going on between the United States and Canada right now, and just how seriously Canadians are taking this. So, against my better judgment, here is a timeline to explain why we are here and why we are angry. November 30, 2018, so it is more than 6 years ago. The United States, Canada, and Mexico finalized a trade agreement. Trump personally negotiates the terms and signs the document, celebrating it as the greatest trade agreement in history. Of course, it was. This is important. November 29th, 2024, so in 6 years. In a face-to-face meeting, Trump threatens the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau that he will be imposing 25% tariffs, and if Canada wants to avoid that, it should join the US as a state. Next day, November 30th, 2024, Trump publicly calls our Prime Minister Governor Trudeau, so meaning that he is just a governor of another United States, another of the states of the United States of America, and instructs his staff to only address him as governor going forward. I mean, it's not the way to behave. It's just, why he is not called out by Americans? And if Americans go with that, and if they cheer that, that's just, it's very ugly. It's very ugly. He again suggests Canada should join the United States of America. December 3rd, 2024, Trump remarks that he would split Canada into two states once annexed. December 10th, 2024, Trump posts that the majority of Canadians support annexation, despite public polling that only 13 of Canadians would consider the idea. So they even, only consider, and maybe they will came to other conclusions. And such blatant lies are very reminiscent of what Russians did before the invasion and after the invasion, during the invasion, and what they are doing now. They blatantly lie about everything. So December 18th, 2024, Trump again falsely states that the majority of Canadians support annexation and that one of his lapdogs, Wayne Gretzky, should have a leadership role in that new scenario. So, I mean, as he was telling, for example, to our president to resign or to that he should leave, or that, Zelensky, that he was dictator and all the rest of the nonsense. This is here. He is saying that somebody should install Wayne Gretzky, one of his lapdogs, in the leadership role in Canada. January 7th, 2025. At a press conference, Trump says that he would use economic force to destroy the Canadian economy to annex it. I mean, that's direct threats to the neighboring country, which was your ally and which was this country that, when you needed this country, that country, Canada, was there for you. That's just very outrageous behavior. I don't know why. Maybe the explanation is that Americans just don't know what's going on, and that's why they are not calling him out on this bullshit. Or maybe they are just okay with that, because I have quite a similar vibe from Trump supporters, from MAGA crowd, that I have from Russian vatniks. They just it looks as if they just made out of the same cloth. So I don't know. Okay, January 14th, 2025. Trump again claims that most Canadians want to be American, despite new polls showing only 10% of us are open to that idea. January 20th, 2025, during his inaugural address, Trump said that US will expand its territory during his second term. So it can expand only if it grabs territory from good neighbors of United States. So I just don't see how it is anything good. Okay. January 23rd, 2025, at the World Economic Forum, Trump says that Canada can avoid tariffs and economic collapse if it joins the US. He says that in front of representatives from most countries in the world. I mean, that's not the way to behave. January 24th, 2025, Trump states publicly that Canada will become a state. January 31st, 2025, Trump announces a 25% tariff on all Canadian imports to begin the next day. February 2nd, 2025, Trump refers to Canada as its cherished 51st state and that it should join the US to avoid tariffs. So, I mean, if you want that we stop robbing you, become one of us. That's just... I just cannot get it. How Americans could elect such a despicable person to be their president. February 3rd, 2025. A 1 month delay is agreed upon. Trump is in a conversation with Trudeau, states that he doesn't think existing border treaties with Canada are valid and need to be revised. It's completely taken from the Russian playbook. So how can he advocate, for example, for territorial integrity of Ukraine in our negotiation with Russia? And he already said that we have to cede some of our territory to Russia. And what kind of moral authority can he be, or can any representative of United States or of current administration be, if the man at the top, Trump himself, is openly threatens to grab land from good neighbor of United States. I mean, he seems to pick, like a bully, he seems to pick the fights only with nice people. So probably it is time to be less nice and to strike back, and strike back hard. So that, I mean, this is exactly, he behaves like a Russian, and he is Russian. I mean, people of United States, you have to take him out, to dislodge him somehow. I don't know what avenues you have for that, but he is going to destroy the world. He is going to destroy America. He will all, because the role that America has in the world right now is not because it is great by itself. No, it is one of the greatest. I mean, right now it is the greatest country in the world, United States. But it is much more greater because of the alliances it has. And if it antagonizes everybody, it should be obvious. If it antagonizes everybody, it will be weaker. And maybe it is just the idea of Trump, or people who are feeding some false ideas into his small mind, because he's a very small-minded person, very petty, greedy, small-minded person, very easily to manipulate. Quite a lot of fears and paranoia that can be easily manipulated. Okay, I went a bit to the side. Okay, he doesn't think existing border treaties with Canada are valid and need to be revised. February 7th, 2025, in a closed-door meeting with his cabinet, Prime Minister Trudeau is recorded without his knowledge, telling everyone that he believes very strongly that Trump is serious, and that he stated his reason for annexation as Canadian resources. So this idiot is completely out of 20th or 19th century. Just very ugly, cartoonish caricature. I mean, there were quite a lot of, in Soviet Union, quite a lot of caricatures of American imperialists, and they were taken from the era of beginning of 20th century, where there were all this Banana Republic and all of this racket by United States Marines of these Latin American nations. And Trump acts exactly like this caricature of American imperialism right now in 21st century, which is unthinkable. He is very small-minded person. Okay. February 9th, 2025. In a Super Bowl pre-game interview, Trump says that he is serious about his threats, calling it a viable consideration for expanding U.S. territory. February 10th, 2025. Trump announced an additional 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports from Canada to come into effect on March 12th. So today is March 14th, so they had to come into effect the day before yesterday. February 24th, 2025. Trump publicly remarks that whoever signed the USMCA agreement is an idiot, and it was exactly him who signed it in 2018. That's idiotic to say such things. March 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2025. Tariffs come into effect. Canada retaliates with its own tariff. Tariffs are again postponed until April 1st after a huge market backlash. March 4th, 2025, in an address to a joint session of Congress, Trump states that the US will own Greenland one way or the other. March 5th, 2025, US Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick told Canadian Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc that Trump had come to realize that the relationship between the United States and Canada was governed by a slew of agreements and treaties that were easy to abandon. So he decided that he just can abandon this treaty and agreement. This is very Russian way of thinking. If I can break some agreement and with minimum consequences, it would be foolish not to break it. I mean, the reputation means nothing. The standing of your country in the world and how you will be viewed after this, that your word means nothing, is, it's okay. Your stance is secondary. The primary is the immediate advantage or profit you can collect right now, and forget about any consequences, long-term consequences. Why care about that? March 7th, 2025. Unconfirmed memorandum and maps leaked on the Twitter reveal Trump is allegedly planning to annex the entirety of the Great Lakes and Southern Ontario, home to 13,491,332 Canadians. This amounts to 35.25% of Canada total population and includes its largest city, Toronto. This region accounts for 38% of the Canadian economy, and its loss would make Canada's independence functionally impossible. March 8, 2025, Canada's foreign minister warns European allies that their government consider Canada to be under existential threat. March 9, 2025, Mark Carney, the new Canadian Prime Minister, in his acceptance speech states that Trump is seeking to destroy Canada and its way of life. March 11, 2025, President Trump threatens to permanently shut down the automobile manufacturing business in Canada if Canada does not drop a 250% to 390% tariff on U.S. dairy products, which he doesn't state only kicks in after a certain quantity of tariff-free U.S. dairy enters Canada, a quantity that was originally negotiated and agreed to by Trump himself during the USMCA agreement in 2018. So he is telling lies, half-truths, and something to just to capture the imagination of his voters, of his listeners, of MAGA crowd, of these gullible idiots, saying, if somebody says to these idiots that that United States is paying 250% to 390% tariff on U.S. products, they would consider that United States was ripped off. But what is missed that it was on the excess of the products after some quotas that were agreed upon are reached. In Trump's own words, the only thing that makes sense is for Canada to become our cherished 51st state. This would make all tariffs and everything else totally disappear. Canadian taxes will be very substantially reduced. They will be more secure militarily and otherwise than ever before. There would no longer be a northern border problem. And the greatest and most powerful nation in the world will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And Canada will be a big part of that. The artificial line of separation drawn many years ago will finally disappear, and we will have the safest and most beautiful nation everywhere in the world. And your brilliant anthem, "Oh Canada," will continue to play, but now represented a great and powerful state within the greatest nation that the world has ever seen. So he is actually saying, doing exactly as Putin was presenting, that he's just he's saying that Canada is not a country, Canadians don't exist as a separate nation, and exactly as Putin was saying about us Ukrainians. Okay, he is just just replaying Putin's playbook. March 11th, 2025, point 2. Okay, it was, point 2. Peter Navarro, a senior advisor for Trump, is interviewed by MSNBC. When asked about the tariffs, he responds with, "Just tamp it down, please, over there, okay? They are throwing down their hockey gloves. Stop that rhetoric. We are not going to tolerate anything but them stopping killing Americans," insinuating that this situation was caused by Canadians killing Americans. You see, that's exactly, for example, the same pretense, the same idiotic... this is just from Russian playbook. For example, when they were annexing Lithuania in 1940, they said that these Lithuanian fascists were killing some Soviet soldiers that were stationed as a garrison in Lithuania, and use it as a pretext to invade and annex Lithuania. So now they are saying that, for example, that there is some fentanyl smuggling over the border and it kills Americans, and that's why United States has to annex Canada. So this is just it's just too far-fetched. That's just, they are grasping on the straws there. March 11th, 2025, point 3, part 3. Trump again publicly misuses that Canada, Greenland, and the US should be that Canada, Greenland, and the US should be one country, and questions the validity of the Canadian and American border. March 11th, 2025, point 4, part 4. Canada sells $3.5 billion of its US bonds. March 12th, 2025, Canadian Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc announced tariffs on $29.8 billion worth of United States goods. This includes tariffs on steel, aluminum, computers, tools, sporting equipment, and cast iron products. To my American friends, I know most of you are amazing and generous people. You didn't ask for this, and I understand that. I hold no ill will towards you whatsoever. But I must stress with as much seriousness as I can the amount of damage this has done. We have viewed you as our close friend and ally for a century. We thought of you as brothers and sisters. We answered the call again and again for any support you needed from us. Most of Canadians visit the United States so much that we've seen more of the United States than we have the rest of Canada. American products have been taken off our shelves. Canadians are canceling travel plans to the US. Photo after photo has been shared on social media of empty flights from Canada to the USA. This isn't a joke to us. We are not overreacting. We don't think he's just saying this shit to cause chaos or negotiate a deal. We wholeheartedly believe that our close ally and friend is about to bring violence across our border, economically destroy us, and eliminate our way of life. The main driver for Canada's creation in 1867 was specifically to not be part of America and to end America's very public threats and plans to annex our territory. We are angry. We are really, really fucking angry. Open your eyes to what's happening, because we are tired of trying to make you understand why, and asking you why it seems like none of you care. So that's exactly what I feel, that when Putin was bombing our cities, we were trying to appeal to our friends and some relatives that were living in Russia, and everything was falling into deaf ears, and quite a lot of Russians on the social media were openly mocking our tragedies. So after that, we don't care what happens to Russia. We have absolutely no empathy for them, because when we were vulnerable and we were trying to appealing to help from Russians to somehow to affect the authorities, they were mocking us in response. And I think I feel the same vibe from MAGA crowd towards Canadians. They are really, really ugly people. Ugly, not I don't know how they look. They are ugly inside. They are really ugly in their spirit. Okay, they are just soulless, as soulless as these guys they have elected. I still hope that there is time to repair this. I still believe that this is the result of one man's plan to burn it all down, but time is running out, and fast. Note, the hundreds of positive comments and messages I received from Americans today have restored my faith in you. Okay. And then afterwards, she received hundreds of notes. You do care, and I was wrong in assuming that you didn't. The thing is that she received how many? 157 responses. I'm sure that if Americans let it slide or even cheer for what Trump is doing, everything that will be done with America afterwards, because it's not me threatening United States of America. This guy is weakening Western alliance in the time that we should be united against Russia and China. He is doing everything to weaken this alliance, to make us more vulnerable. Europeans, Ukrainians, Canadians, Australians, and Americans. We should stick together. These people are challenging us, and these are despicable people. I'm speaking about Russians and Chinese. If they have, let's talk about Russians. That's, I'm sure 100%. If they could push a button and launch their missiles with their nuclear warheads and in United States, and somehow disable all the retaliation and be sure that there won't be any retaliatory strike from United States to them, they would do it without thinking. They would do it in a heartbeat. Next, in 30 minutes, all of the United States would be ruined if they were assured that there will be no response from United States. So you are dealing with people who hate your guts, who the greatest joy in their lives would be to see United States destroyed and humiliated. And this guy is trying to find allies among Russians against Chinese, and on the way he just doing the bidding of Russians, he is destroying the greatest alliance that was holding everything together and holding the world from the war, from the horrible nuclear war for many, many years. I just don't know if I'm saying to you, people of the United States, if you won't stop this guy, you will suffer as well. We will suffer first. We will be wiped out first. But you will not escape this as well. You understand that? That if you encourage any further by the deeds, who will benefit with from the trade war, or maybe even the hot war with armaments between Canada and United States? Who will be made stronger? Will it make United States or Canada stronger? No, it will damage both countries. Who will be stronger and who will cheer this? And you are very fortunate that you don't understand Russian and you don't watch those creatures on Russian state TV. These are really, really. I think Nazis were better than them. They are even worse than Nazis. These are just really despicable people. I'm sorry, maybe I'm saying the same words again and again. This is not my first language, and I sometimes just my vocabulary is not that broad. So I apologize for this lack from my side. But again, do something about that. Do something about this guy. He will destroy our civilization. Okay, thank you for watching. Слава Україні, слава to Canada.